Welcome into our In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting. And during the fall meet, as we did back in the spring, we're going to do a short podcast on every racing day, previewing that day's stakes race, or in some cases, if it's an allowance, whatever would be the feature race. And if there's anything else we like on the card, we'll talk about that. And then we'll do our regular Saturday expanded podcast with all the Keeneland stakes plus others from around the country. So Jim will get started with the opening day card for Friday at Keeneland with a pair of stakes races. The first one is the 8th race on the card, and it is the Grade 3 Stall Keenan Ogden Phoenix for 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. A race with a lot of history and one of many big fields on opening day.
Yeah, I think we got 115 horses for 10 races, and there's 63 horses in the late pick 5, so that's an average of 12.6 per race. And these two stakes races we're going to handicap are typical. They are wide open, and if you can find a winner and you can put together some horses below them in a try or super, you can start out the Keeneland fall meet on a very good note, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. They're finding that single's going to be hard, though. Let's try with the Stall Keenan Ogden Phoenix, and I went back and forth on 2 or 3 different horses in here. Where did you end up landing?
Well, I tell myself every meet that I'm not going to bet on horses that have never run on synthetic. And in the very first race I'm going to handicap, I'm going to take a horse that's never run on synthetic, and that's Gentleman's Bet. I just think that on the basis of who he's run against and how he's run, I think he's the best horse in the race. Whether he takes to Polytrack or not, I've got no clue. He hasn't really worked here. Moquette's been working at Churchill, and that's the big question mark. But his figures tower over everything in here, and I'm going to take him on top. But I'm not going to single him in pick 4s and pick 5s because I don't feel that comfortable about the history, no history on Polytrack. The horse that I like second is Hoagie, Joe Rocco, who's been having a good summer and is a very good up and coming rider with Wayne Catalano, who killed Kentucky Downs, was 10 for 15 at Kentucky Downs, so he's a hot trainer. So I'm going to take Hoagie along with Gentleman's Bet because Hoagie does have a history with synthetics, 5 out of 10 lifetime, coming out of Presque Isle, won the Presque Isle Mile last time out. So those are my top 2 choices, and then I think you can take a number of horses below. I like Laugh Track a little bit. I like Jasizzle a little bit, and I like, for a long shot, maybe Winning Cause. But I'm going to take those 2 on top, but I'm not real comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm going to toss Gentleman's Bet just on that basis. And it's if he runs anything close to those numbers, you're right, he's the best. For the wager, though, I'm going to take a stand against him because of that. And then that leaves me with a quandary of trying to decide between several horses. And I ended up going to take a stand with Winning Cause. I'm worried the 6 furlongs is too short, and he may not get up. But absolutely loves this track, 3 for 3. And on figures, he's a little light, but it's a 3-year-old. They can improve this time of year. I just think he's going to be rolling at the end. Now, whether that gets him first, second, third, or fourth, I don't know. But I'm going to take him at a price. I like Gomez on him. He's a great finisher, and this horse is going to be finishing strong. So I'm going to take Winning Cause. And the main thing I would do with him in this spot is play him in exactas because I think there's every possibility if he does make his kick that it could still come up short. Some of the parts is 2 for 2 at Keeneland. I almost picked him. Go Blue or Go Home for Reed Baker out of Canada. Likes the Polytrack. And Hoagie I would use as well. And then I'd toss in one more, and this is a horse that's moving up in class, but did run really well here in the spring, Reload. So I use each one of those 4 keying with Winning Cause, and if I have to make a pick, I will go Winning Cause. 9th race is the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades, and big field in here too. 2-year-old fillies going 1 mile and a 16th. And if there's a chance for a single, I thought this might be it in the late pick 4, My Conquistadori. This horse debuted and beat Boys in a stakes race at Woodbine. And Mark Casse is sharp in spotting his horses down here for the spring and fall meets. And so I like her in this spot. And then there's a couple horses out of Chicago that I think that at big prices could run well in here. She's Awfully Wild, the 10, and Sweet Southern Dame, the 3. And what I like about both of them is that both had a significant jump in their Bayern number when they stretched out from a sprint to a mile. Now they're going 2 turns, but they indicated that the longer distance really they liked, and so I'm going to play those 2 with my Conquistador, and also I'll use Rosalind. Don't really like the 12 post, but I thought she ran well in her 2 starts. So my Conquistador is the pick for me. What about you?
She looked awfully good. And it was against the boys, and it was a debut race, so it skipped her maiden conditions and won a grade 2 at Woodbine, but it was on the turf. And again, you're looking at Polytrack, and I look at the horses that show history on Poly, and she's awfully good as my pick. I think this horse, the buzz on her is that she won this thing for fun at the Arlington Washington Lassie, and she's going to get better with distance. She went from 5.5 furlongs to a mile. This is a mile and 16. Julian Leperoux takes the ride and is very impressed with how this horse, I think he really wanted the ride according to some sources. And I'm going to take her. I think she's the horse that's improving. She's the horse that looks the best coming out of that Arlington race, and she's got the history on Polytrack. My Conquistador is the obvious, going to be the favorite, and I'm going to take her below. She's awfully good. I'm also going to use Who's in Town coming out of the Saratoga Adirondack. Hopefully, she got disqualified and placed 4th, but she's actually 2 for 2. So she went from maiden special weight to a grade 2 and finished 1st, and that shows a lot of class for a 2-year-old filly. So I think she's going to be right there. Again, the question is Polytrack, but you can make a lot of cases for these horses. I mean, it's a wide open race once you get past the top couple of choices. And if I were singling in the pick 4, I would single She's Awfully Good.
Ooh, bold move.
But I'm not going to single this race in pick 4.
You almost have to try to single or at least get it to 2 somewhere in these things because of these deep fields, but it is so hard to do. Of course, that's what makes it fun, and that's what makes it pay well if you can be right. Jimmy, best of luck to you. Well, again, the expanded podcast we'll get to on Saturday. We'll talk about a bunch of stakes races at Keeneland as well as a big day up at Belmont Park. So for Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach on the In the Money podcast, KeenelandSelect.com.